Hello everyone, I'm Baby Mario,
And I'm Baby Luigi.
and we welcome you to the Pokemon Showdown Plush Draft League.
We believe this is the first ever draft league involving plushies, so this should distinguish ourselves from other draft leagues.
If you don't know what a draft league is, basically the competitors take turns drafting the Pokemon of their choice in a snake draft format.
Competitors have to think about what Pokemon they want in order to fill the team's strategies, as well as figure out counters to other opponents.
And with the draft, competitors will most likely lose Pokemon that they want, and will have to figure out other alternatives.
After the draft happens, teams will compete in battles against other teams that will be decided by us, the hosts.
Battles will take place over 10 weeks. Then, the teams will battle it out in a tournament to see who will become the Draft League champion.
Before we dive into the results of the draft, we would like to give a shout out to the people behind the scenes, Prism37 and Brad's GA.
Yes.
Make sure you go subscribe to both channels to be updated on more Draft League information, as well as future content coming to both channels.
Yes. Now, we have just received information about the draft that has now finished. So let's go ahead and see the results.
Before we begin, I would like to announce the teams for this season's Pokemon Draft League. We have Sonic Rushers, Mewtwo Mines, Mew Mysticals, Charmander Lizards, Cookie Critters, Rainbow Bunny Jumpers, Simon Doggos, and Baby Yoda Jedis. Let us know down in the comments section below who you think will win. And now, on to the draft.
Okay, so we have the draft list here right now. So we're going to just quickly go through each of the teams and kind of make our own observations on what we think might happen with their teams and what they're trying to go for. So first up, we have the Charmander Lizards, and their team consists of
Chi-Yu, Toxapex, Fluttermane, Quaquaval, Sandaconda, Ting-Lu, Tropius, Mismagius, Rotom Frost, and Screentail. So this is a very interesting team.
Yeah, well, I personally, I like to see some of the bulky Pokemon see some shining here. We got Screamtail is bulky. Ting-Lu, I think, is pretty bulky for the most part.
Especially with the Salt Vest, he's super bulky.
Yes, and Toxapex, the big bulky person. We can see some big strats coming in with Toxapex here to tank in some major hits.
However, we don't know anything about the upcoming weeks, so we don't know what's going to happen with these guys. So
Yeah.
we will just have to see.
Toxapex can also...
Quaquaval is a pretty good sweeper, though, so we'll have to see if it works out for him.
Toxapex is the only person on the team that can safely switch into Toxic Spikes and stuff like that.
That is true. However, you could also have Levitate Mismagius or Flying type Tropius to not.
Yeah, that's true. You can also do that. Next up is the Rainbow Bunny Jumpers.
Yeah. So we have Dragalge, Dragonite, Breloom, Bisharp, very interesting Pokemon. Baxcalibur, Tinkaton, very interesting Pokemon so far. Skeletors, Hawlucha, Rotom Wash, and Gothitelle. So Gothitelle's pretty good. Shadow Tag stop him from switching. Switching is very important in singles.
Yes, that is very important in singles. Now we see Dragonite here with its access to extreme speed, which allows it to go first. A very strong priority move that can be used against a bunch of Pokemon. And with the Terra Normal type, which we see in a lot of competitive Pokemon, it will definitely be a big threat.
And seeing as you can only you have to state which Pokemon you are terrestrializing before every battle, this will be pretty tough, because if you say Dragonite, they can expect Terra Normal.
Yeah, for sure. I also see some use in Breloom, as it has access to Spore and Mach Punch, a priority move, and put the Pokemon to sleep. It's probably one of the better Spore users in this league.
Yes, it is. Skeletors is also not bad. It can take a couple hits. It can dish out some pretty decent damage. Hawlucha is also pretty freaking good in singles. So.
Yeah. Alright, the next team is Mew Mysticals.
With Blissey, Dedenne, Brute Bonnet, Zumaro, Farigiraf, Alola-Mola, Clodsire, Hatterene, Gastrodon, and Mousehold. So I can kind of see like a Trick Room setup here.
Yeah, and it's a weird Pokemon team. You got some bulky, like HP Pokemon like Alola-Mola and Blissey, especially Blissey with its 255 base HP stat.
However, if it is hit by a physical move, it might still just die.
Yeah, it is very weak physically.
It has like a base 5 in its defense and physical attack. It's like pretty garbage.
Yes. And Dedenne with the Nuzzle strats might be really annoying.
But it also might be bad if she goes for the Trick Room setup. Because
yeah, it looks like Mew is thinking of some different setups. Could go for a Trick Room setup, but it could also go for some speeding through and KOing Pokemon with Tandem out or Mousehold, I should say. There is a lot of potential use with Population Bomb Technician, where we will dish out a lot of damage.
And Wide Lens too. Wide Lens would make it so it would always hit 10 times. I mean, so.
Yes, that would be very, very big.
Yes.
Next up, we have the Cookie Critters
with Gengar, Ceruledge, Armarouge, Espathra, Goldango, Iron Valiant, Gallade, Hydreigon, Indeedee, and Iron Hands. So at first, when this was first happening, the first 5 picks were all weak to Dark and Ghost.
Yes, which was not a good, it's probably the biggest flaw in this team, honestly. I think this might be the worst team, honestly, out of all the ones that we're going to see in this draft. But
I disagree with that. I would personally probably say that Mew might have the worst team, but that might just be me. But Cookie doesn't have a very tight balanced team at first. However, Iron Valiant can counter the Dark types extremely well, and Hydreigon handles the Ghost types extremely well.
Yes, and
as well as
Gallade.
So.
And Gallade works pretty well too with the Psychic Fighting type. It is neutral to Dark, but it also can dish out some close combat.
It's still
damage.
weak to Ghost, sadly.
Yes,
but and Iron Hands is pretty bulky, so I would say this is a pretty middle of the road team for me.
Yeah, I would
the worst team though. It has some weaknesses.
I would say it's the worst, but I don't know. That's just my opinion. Next up is the Sonic Rushers.
With Chien Pao, Abomasnow, Glaceon, Organical, Annihilate, Electros, Titan, Clodser, Palmot, and Wo-Chien. So we can kind of see the Hail team as the starting.
You mean the Snow team? It's Snow now. Whatever. Okay. Yeah. Rip Snow, everybody. Rip Snow in the comments.
No, you just said Rip Snow.
Rip Hail in the comments. Rip Hail in the comments.
Yeah, Rip Hail. Snow's better.
But anyways, Snow allows Pokemon, especially like Chien Pao, to boost from its defensive stats, as it is pretty weak defensively. Not as weak as Blissey, obviously, but it is still pretty frail. And they will need that defense boost in the Snow to take out its opponents.
Especially fighting type moves. Fighting type moves are a lot of physical ones, so he might actually be able to survive a fighting type move in the Snow if you're lucky.
Titan may also become a big threat with the Snow, as it is already.
And it has Slush Rush, which doubles its speed in Snow, which is a very good ability.
Yes.
Plus, Belly Drum can be a pretty good potential sweeper on Sonic's team. Sonic might have probably the best mono-type team because you have 4-base Pokemon.
And with Palma, you can use Revival's Blessing, and with what's it called, the Lepa Berry?
And the Lepa Berry to restore the PP and to give it 2 uses.
Yes.
So it could be pretty useful.
Next is the Baby Yoda Jedis.
So they have Great Tusk, a very good pick. Dragapult, Ice Cube, Flamigo, Roaring Moon, Magnezone, Iron Thorns, Torkoal, Ravska, and Grimmsnarl. Now this is a very interesting team. It started off with 2 meta Pokemon, but then it went with Ice Cube and Flamigo, which I personally don't understand the idea behind those
XQ
two.
Belly Drum, maybe, but it's not that great of an attacker. So I don't know what Baby Yoda was thinking here, but we could see some use in the team. So personally, I think that the Roaring Moon, I almost said Desperate, but Roaring Moon, I think will have the biggest impact on this team here.
I think it would be very cool because he has Torkoal to set up the sun to activate photosynthesis for both Roaring Moon and Great Tusk here.
Yes, that is a good thought. That's a good thought.
So the fact that the Torkoal wasn't taken basically just for that photosynthesis boost or before that pick came around,
yes,
is pretty much a steal.
And Rabska with the Revival Blessing as well, like we talked about with Palma.
Yeah.
Next up is Mega Mewtwo X with the Mewtwo Mines.
It has Iron Shreds, Meowscarada, King Gambit, Espeon, Gardevoir, Iron Bundle, Tyranitar, Poundstone, Rotom Fan, and Clamora. So this is a kind of, at the end there, he kind of went for the Sandstorm setup at kind of the end there.
Yeah, I would say so for that. It's like with the Sand Rush with the Houndstone to do some extra speed in its last respects. And I also see King Gambit as used too, as he got both of the gimmick Pokemon that used at the end of your last member of your party, like with last respects and Supreme Overlord ability, which can do massive damage if you use at the last Pokemon.
It can. However, I think he did realize when he picked this Gardevoir Espeon, his first two Pokemon are all weak to fighting, so that could be a very big flaw with his team.
Yes.
Because Gardevoir and Espeon, yes, counter them, and so does Houndstone, but every other member is most...
Fighting type is a pretty big weakness on the team.
Yeah.
But I think the Espeon and Gardevoir pretty much cover it for the most part, but I'm not totally sure.
I just don't see how the King Gambit ever survives a fighting type move.
Yeah. Last but not least, we have the Simon Doggos.
It has Ditto, Corviknight, Garchomp, Arcanine, Sylveon, Palafin, Gyarados, Flareon, Lucario, and Pelipper. So this is a very interesting team. Ditto first round pick was very surprising for us.
Interesting pick as it allows it to copy stat changes, copy the Pokemon's movesets.
And looking at the other Pokemon, it could be very good to copy Dragon Dance Dragonite or Quaquaval Aqua Step Sweeping, or sometimes maybe even a Nasty Plot or Nasty Plot Goldango or Speed Boost Espalthra. I think Ditto is a very valuable Pokemon because
Ditto's an underrated pick, I would say. Probably the underdog, and could see some pretty competitive use here in this league. I also think Palafin is an interesting choice. It is very strong, but it takes a switching back in, which isn't very hard, I guess.
It's not super duper hard.
Especially in singles where there's a lot of switching
However, I
going on.
did just realize Palafin's weak to grass and electric. He doesn't have a very good switch into grass and electric types.
I mean, yeah, he does. He got Arcanine and Flareon.
Yeah, that's good against the grass types. Or what about the electric types?
Electric types, Garchomp. But what if it's like the Eldegoss that Sonic has and has Levitate? You're pretty much screwed. When Simon faces Sonic. So it's gonna be an interesting.
We will have to see. Maybe he won't bring Palafin for that fight. We will just have to see. So that's the draft.
Yes, that is.
Overall, I think the teams are pretty balanced. I don't think there's any team that's severely worse than any of the others.
Yeah.
My personal favorite team is probably Baby Yoda's, and my least favorite team is Mew's, I would say.
My favorite is probably I'd say Charmander's team is probably my favorite, and we got probably my least favorite is Cookies. So yeah, let us know in the comments below who you think is going to win. We will begin starting this series on Saturday, I believe. Yes. The first week will commence on Saturday, so make sure you tune in on Saturday as we will be posting the first week results and battles and all that kind of stuff. So make sure you're subscribed to Prism 37 and Brad GGAs. Those will be the channels we'll be posting this on. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the first week.